So I went on Twitter the other day, I know, ew, and I saw this tweet by Nephis. 31 pages of just bug fixes? Let's freaking go! For context, this was written by ESO's community manager as a response to a player asking if we could get some clues as to what we can expect in Update 39. The original post from ESO's official Twitter accounts that Nephis quote tweeted advertised an upcoming ESO livestream that would go over Update 39 patch notes and give everyone a sneak peek at what's in store for players in the next quarter of Elder Scrolls Online content. I tuned into this stream, and oh boy, is there a lot to talk about. In this video, I'll be providing you all with a brief summary of the part of the stream that discussed the new features, in case you missed it or simply wanted a recap. I'll also be showcasing some footage of this new content from the public test server. I'll leave some links to some content creators that are well versed with the combat in this game that will be covering combat related changes in the description, as I won't be covering this topic in this video. I'll also leave timestamps up on the screen to help you navigate to the parts of the video that intrigue you the most. But I must say, if you're a PvPer or you enjoy earning gold from PvP ventures, you are definitely gonna want to check out the part of the video that discusses some PvP changes. I was really shocked to see some of them. Do note that all of this content that you're about to see in this video is derived from the PTS, which means that it's subject to change as the weeks pass and the developers receive feedback. Alright, let's get right into this Update 39 sneak peek. ESO's community managers, Gina and Jess, gave us a brief overview of the contents of the stream. They announced that there would be 45 pages of patch notes that consist of mostly bug fixes, as well as changes to the game that would polish up older content and provide new quality of life features. They stated that there would be no paid DLC this time around, as Update 39 will be a free base game update. Some of the notable changes and updates that were teased include PvP updates, added achievements to existing content, and implementing additions to the game that would improve the new player experience, among other things. The devs stated that they are working on implementing changes and features that can help improve the initial experience of the early game for newer players. Some of these features include suppressing some of the otherwise overwhelming quest pins, such that they only appear at a certain level. Some quests that were accessible at any level before will still be accessible at any level, but the pins just won't show up until your character reaches a certain level. That way new players aren't completely overwhelmed by a shitload of quest pins. A new system will be introduced that makes it more clear which navigator NPCs, you know, the ones located in major cities, usually near carts or ships, you can talk to transport you to a location that corresponds with a tracked quest. This is manifested through a door pin that will now be present over the navigator NPC and in their dialogue options. A safety rail has been implemented for event tickets that are derived from looted sources. This means that when you complete an event-related initiative that would have normally dropped event tickets that you can loot while you are at or near the event ticket currency cap, and not on the daily cooldown, you'll receive a message that will inform you that you could have gotten event tickets from this source, but you did not have enough room to loot them. Instead of debating yourself and ruining your chances at receiving event tickets for the day upon doing something like this, you will now be able to go ahead and spend event tickets such that you have enough room to receive more, and then go ahead and loot them from the next event-appropriate source. There are 3 new Cyrodiil monster masks that are being released in Update 39. The masks and shoulders will be able to be purchased from the Elite Gear vendor that is located at your Alliance gates, and they will cost 50k AP each. There are also some new style pages that can be purchased from the War Research vendor for 150k AP each. Unfortunately, these new style pages are bound, which means you won't be able to sell these for gold on the market. I'm curious to know, how do you feel about the direction that ZOS keeps taking when it comes to new PvP rewards? They're all bound rewards these days, and I'm certain that this is likely done to try to make these rewards feel more PvP exclusive, and perhaps incentivize players to get into PvP to get these rewards, as they won't be able to buy them with gold. But as a PvPer myself that will PvP no matter what rewards I may get for doing so, it does kind of bum me out that I can't take my AP to buy these to then sell for gold, the way I can with old PvP rewards like the Timber Crow costume or the Knight of the Circle style pages. I don't know, let me know what you think. A new face and body marking set called the Unfeathered Battle Markings will be able to be purchased with 100k AP and 50 gladiator proofs. A new death notification feature will be added to Cyrodiil, IC, and BGs to give more details about combat and deaths. This chat feature will alert you about who defeated whom, around what area this death occurred, as well as the alliance ranks of those in battle. In Ciro and IC, you'll also be able to receive more information on the crossed swords indicators about who is currently winning in that particular fight. This feature can be toggled on and off in the social settings. Cunning and trove scamps located in the Imperial City sewers are going to be appearing less frequently, but they'll be offering better rewards. Cunning scamps will now reward players with a greatly increased quantity of Telvar stones, but this reward is not affected by the IC Telvar multiplier. Trove scamps will be dropping tradable pieces of IC gear in addition to their previous rewards. So if you see one of these little buggers, it's on site because they could just drop a powerful ass ice staff. Additionally, the amount of scamps needed to be killed for a handful of achievements has been reduced. Okay, so this is a pretty interesting change, and I'm curious to hear your opinion on it, especially from you PvPers. Some fixes and adjustments have been made to how some item sets are sourced so that they may be obtained in an easier manner. Rewards for the worthy will still continue to have the newest item sets, but as new sets continue to get added, older sets will be removed from the rewards for the worthy coffers and added to other sources such as Cyrodiil delves, dolmens, board missions, daily quests, town merchants, and elite gear vendors. Bruma, Vlastris, and Cropsford town quests and town merchants will now be divided by the different armor weights, those being light, medium, and heavy. Vlastris will have a vendor that sells only heavy armor sets, Cropsford sells light armor sets, and Bruma sells medium armor sets. So this wasn't mentioned anywhere in the patch notes, unless I'm blind, which could be the case. But from my experience farting around on the PTS, I also found that delves drop armor sets that correspond with the kinds of sets that are sold in the nearby towns. For example, a delve boss located in a delve near Vlastris will drop girdles and sabatons because Vlastris has heavy armor sets. A delve boss near Cropsford will drop sashes and shoes because Cropsford has light armor gear for sale. Now here's the kicker, the puncher even. Overland gear in Cyrodiil is curated. I'ma let that sink in. This means that you can deliberately not bind certain pieces of gear to guarantee that you can receive gear from a certain set each time when you kill a delve boss. For example, I could deliberately not bind a rallying cry sash, a very expensive item, and then bind all of the other sashes and boots from all of the other PvP sets out there. And then whenever I go ahead and defeat a delve boss near Cropsford, I could theoretically receive a rallying cry sash every single time. I'm curious to see how this change affects not only the ESO economy, but the interactions between non-PvPers hoping to capitalize off of this notion by farming delves, and PvPers hoping to kill those kinds of players. We'll have to wait and see how this all pans out. All PvP sets will be available as individual containers from town merchants and elite gear vendors. Do keep in mind that gear from coffers are not curated, of course. The town merchants will offer a discounted price of 12k AP per gear coffer, while elite gear vendors at the Alliance gates, which are nice and safe, will sell their gear coffers for 20k AP each, which incentivizes players to capture towns to be able to receive a nice discount when purchasing gear coffers with AP. The PvP board missions, like the Bounty and Scout ones, and the Battle and Warfront missions, will also reward players with gear coffers. The devs also address that any discrepancies in drop rates based on item slots have been brought up to current standards, meaning instead of having a significantly higher chance of getting jewelry drops from gear coffers, we will now have an equal chance of getting any piece of gear. Thank Oriel for this change, man. Actually based change. The locations of some item sets have been adjusted, such that the shared set pool between all of the Craigorn trials will now be broken up, and each trial will now drop 4 sets. I'll leave a breakdown of this change on the screen. Crown Store items that appear in your inventory that came from different sources but are the same item will now be able to be stacked. Okay, but stackable treasure maps when? Changes have been made to allow players to better understand which items can and cannot be sold. Any item that is listed as 0 gold in your inventory will not be able to be sold, while certain items that were previously listed at 0 gold but could be sold to merchants in the past will now be valued at 1 gold. The items impacted by this change are listed on the screen. Alright, finally some endgame content, am I right, fellas? There are 2 new homes that are available to be previewed on the PTS. Kelison Rune, I probably nuked the pronunciation there, is a Telvanni-style residence that will be available by participating in a future event. That's pretty exciting. I feel like we haven't had one of those in a while. The Shadow Queen's Labyrinth consists of a winding maze on the grounds of a twilight-enshrouded estate with everglow skies. I'll leave links to some of my favorite housing creators in the description, as they've already created some rather nice videos that showcase these new homes in their entirety. 22 new structural furnishing plans will be added to the Necrom daily reward coffers that can be obtained upon completing Telvanni Peninsula World Boss or Delve daily quests. Seven new Master Writ furnishing plans have also been added to the Master Writ furnishing vendor's inventory. As per usual, a bunch of Master Writ furnishing plans have been discounted and others have been bundled into a folio worth 700 Writ vouchers. Upon completing the entirety of the excavation and scrying skill lines on one character, you will now be able to purchase those skill lines on other characters from the Crown Store, similar to how you can do the same with other skill lines if you'd rather pay a bit of money to save yourself the time that would otherwise be required to max out these skill lines. The Undaunted event will be returning in Update 39. As per usual, the first final dungeon boss that you defeat in a day will drop 2 event tickets and a special glorious Undaunted reward box. These boxes can contain motif pages, and there is a guaranteed chance for opal weapon style pages, which will be featuring styles from Iceheart, Lord Warden, Nightflame, Swarm Mother, Veladreth, and this year's new style, Sentinel of Rakugams. I can't pronounce that. The patch notes suggest that defeating the veteran hard mode of the dungeons that correspond with the aforementioned bosses will have a chance to drop the Opal Shoulder style page for those bosses as well. But I think this is a mistake, as this has never been the case. Usually, Opal shoulder style pages can be purchased from the Undaunted Quest Givers stores, and that seems to still be the case on the PTS, while bosses have a chance to drop Opal and even non-Opal variants of their masks. But we'll have to keep an eye on future patch note cycles to see if the wording gets updated. A player in the chat asked when we'd be receiving the all-in-one attunable stations that have been hyped since their first mention months ago. Gina responded by saying that these stations will be coming out in update 40, not 39. Just gotta wait a little longer, fellas. And that just about concludes the video. What do you gamers think about the new content that was detailed in this livestream and on the patch notes? Personally, I like a lot of these changes. I didn't even go over the combat changes in this video, but I literally got so hyped after hearing about the Nightblade changes that I got timed out on the Twitch chat from writing in all caps. The quality of life features are appreciated. While we are getting some new body markings and style pages for PvP, I do wish that we could receive more tradable goodies, like the Arena Gladiator costume, Timbergrow costume, and the Knight of the Circle style pages, to provide a suitable means to convert PvP-sourced currencies into gold, especially if PvP gear is now going to be more accessible and likewise cheaper with these changes. I do also wish that they had considered changing some other aspects of PvP that could improve the overall experience, such as bringing back a deathmatch queue to resolve some of the tension that exists in battlegrounds between objective enjoyers and deathmatch andies. Or taking another look at how players get flagged as being in combat so that they can actually make use of their mounts in between fights. I haven't been able to get out of combat in Cyrodiil on my Templar healer for the past 2 years, I swear to god. It sucks having to run to every single keep because my HOTS are pulling me into combat. But alas, solutions to these issues may simply not be feasible at the moment or a top priority. Overall, I'm still satisfied with the changes that are being implemented, but I'm also still yearning for quality of life changes that affect PvP. I don't know man, maybe I'm just on hopium at this point. But yeah, what do you think about these changes? I'll leave a link to the patch notes in the description so that you can check them out for yourself. This is the third video that I've made that goes over an ESO livestream. I like making these kinds of videos, but they may be the most challenging ones to make simply because I basically don't sleep for an entire day in order to create these videos and upload them in a timely manner. Which means I'm also kinda cracked out on caffeine. And that doesn't feel good sometimes, Chief. You can support my caffeine addiction by purchasing a caffeinated beverage for me over on my Buy Me a Coffee page. You can also leave a like if you appreciate these stream recap videos, or if you enjoy being dominated by women, and smash subscribe for more quality ESO content. Ignore to die instantly. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to my YouTube members for the additional support, and I will see you gamers in the next video. Cheers.